Hello. So I got a request on my YouTube channel from somebody that would ask if I would go kind of step by step, component on one of my motor assemblies so that they could kind of follow along and actually hopefully make one of their own. So what this is this is the motor assembly for my spider props, which if you go back to I think the first video I briefly go over it, but this will be definitely more in depth. So starting from the beginning, as you can see, it's just on a piece of 3/4 inch plywood. The reason I have it on that is that actually helps me mount it up to at the very top of the overhang. Just gives you something to mount it all to. The next thing is this motor. All my motors are these wiper motors. I get them at monsterguts.com. I think they're usually somewhere between like $21 or maybe $26. A lot of times they have them on sale. They're great. They have tons of torque. I think I've got 6 or 7 of them, and I haven't had one problem with any of them. The next thing is these little C-clamps. They're just plastic C-clamps. They're electrical conduit clamps that you get at Lowe's. Sometimes you have to put a little something under here, some paper or even cardboard, because you want to make sure this stays tight so this motor doesn't wobble or rotate at all with this. The next thing is this is just a 1.5 inch bar, aluminum bar stock that I bought again at Lowe's. You're going to cut it to whatever length you want for the amount of throw, and I know if you look at some other videos, the way to figure out your throw is whatever it is between the shaft to the end, double that, and that's what you get as far as up and down. The next thing about this too is that these Monster Gut motors come with an attachment to the shaft, but it's really small. It's probably about 1 inch long, and it's got a ball on it, and the idea is that you would use some kind of mechanical attachment. But you'll see that almost everybody online, when they use these, they make their own bars. And so in doing this, what you got to realize is that you're going to drill, and the reason I use aluminum, as I'll explain, is I drill the hole in the aluminum just big enough so it fits over the very top of the shaft coming out of the motor, because that shaft is actually angled. It gets bigger as it goes down, and it's got little teeth on it. And so as you tighten it, this is just a lock nut over a washer. As the bar tightens down on the shaft is actually getting bigger. The teeth bite into the aluminum, and you get a really, really strong connection so that any torque against the bar doesn't spin off the shaft, because you want to make sure that's really tight. So aluminum works really well. Here it's just what happened was, this is just a modification. You can actually have this connected directly to this bar, but for whatever reason over the years I've had to change it, so I just reattached it, but that's not a big deal. The next thing is this is just a rubber ball actually that I found that had a hole in it. Again, it's I'm at a rubber wheel, again, Lowe's, and as you can see, this is just a 1/4 inch nut and bolt that goes through here, and it's just attached through the shaft. Keep it loose so it spins. And then I think I mentioned this before. Somebody else online talked about this. These are lure attachments that I got at I think Big 5. They're for fishing, and I've got 8 of them on here. The great thing is they attach really. I just drilled through this rubber. You can't quite see it well enough, but it's just drilled through. I did 8 little holes. These things go through and clip. Then here I cut it all off, but this is where I attach all my lines and stuff. There's 8 of them. As I've talked in my other videos, you can have multiple attachments to this. So again, 8, 16, whatever. It's an easy way to attach the whole idea, like I've talked about before, of having multiple props running by just one motor. So the next thing on this is my DC motor control, speed controller. And you're going to need it for sure, because these Monster Gut motors, I think the lowest RPM is like 15, and I think when I've run all my props, I usually end up running about 5 to 8, maybe 10 at the most. So you get these speed controllers. eBay has them all over. But one thing I'll show you is here's kind of the new and improved one I found on eBay. The problem with this one, if you guys just, are looking to buy them, is I've broken 2 of these already. This attachment for the speed control is really, really weak and it'll break. So if you're going to get them, buy them in these things. These are just pretty much indestructible. This has an on and off, which this one over here doesn't. It's just, they give you directions for how you have to properly hook the wires up. And then the last thing is, this is just a little connector I've got, but you're going to see the Monster Gut. You're going to need the power supply, and the power supply is what's really cool, is it's got a plug. The reason you want to do that is that you can unplug the power supply and you don't have to worry about having it attached. I don't like them all attached to here and then having to worry about dragging the power supply around. I can attach it, mount this, and then the last thing I do is my power supply. So again, it's really, really basic stuff. This probably cost me total maybe $35–40 at the most. The power supplies I think are like $6. The motor, like I said, is $21–22. The fishing lures were $2 or $3 a piece. This is just a scrap piece of plywood. And again, I mounted this on here too, just to have everything tight. So again, if you're building it, Monster Guts motor, some C-clamps, just some bars, aluminum bar stock. This is just a lock nut that goes down. That actually comes with the Monster Guts motor. This is just a rubber wheel. However you want to attach it, the main thing you're just trying to get, I've used washers before, but you just want something loose that obviously spins real freely like this. I think the fishing lure is a great idea because you can tie multiple lines onto that. Speed controller for how fast you want it to go around. And that's it. And it's really, really a simple design, cheap. And it's the same, this is the same exact design I use for all my props. So the other one that I'm running multiple props that you can watch the videos on of the graveyard is exactly this design, except it's in a box. And so good luck, and I'll post this in the next day or so and answer directly to the person that asked me to do this. And again, if anybody else has any questions, I think that it's pretty simple, that just kind of a step-by-step, buy the right components and pieces, and you should be able to do it. Good luck.